Hello and welcome back to Oberman Amplified, where we talk about the entertainment industry, music business, mindfulness, all with an uplifting lens. And I'm so excited to have my good friend Kate Roberston Pryor on the show.
Hello. It's so good to see you. It's so good to be here.
Kate is an actor, a screenwriter, a director, a producer. You're working over 40 projects done. You have some roots in Tennessee that I can't wait to talk to you about. And you're currently based in Omaha, which don't sleep on the smaller markets if you're an actor.
Definitely not.
And you also are married to a surgeon for the Air Force,
Yes.
which thank you for. It's 1% of Americans are involved in the military and they look after the 99% of us. So thank you for all that you've done for your family and your husband. Is he deployed right now? Can I ask?
He is not, thankfully.
Okay. Glad to hear that. But yeah, I feel like this conversation that we're about to have is like a reach across social media bubbles, because I feel like there tends to be like, oh, well, I'm gay and she's straight and I'm in a blue state and you're in a red state. And like, so we're not supposed to cross pollinate ideas, or we're not supposed to be friends. And Kate is someone who's just as at home doing personal training for military spouses as at a big fundraising meeting, and then learning from derby girls who are like covered in tattoos and piercings, like how to hit and how to fall, and hanging out with me. And it's just like amazing to see you code switch. And also you talk about your faith, you talk about Christianity, and gosh, I wish more Christians were like you, where they just love people. Only 12% of actors earned more than $1,000 last year. That's from Bernard Haller. 43% of Americans cannot afford $1,000 emergency expense, and the top 1% owns 35% of all the wealth. And then this I found really staggering. Producers create 95% of the worldwide programming, with around 10% of box office revenues. That's from the Independent Film and TV Alliance. So that means that independent creators like you and me are like making stuff, but it's not getting seen. What happens from it being made to what the public gets? They get HBO and they get Netflix, right? You have a screening that's already sold out at the Omaha Film Festival.
Film Festival. It's one of the best festivals in the world.
That's amazing. And you have 3 shorts that you produced that are going to be at that festival, as well as your directorial debut. You are in the Paramount Pictures film Snack Shack, which you can stream now on Amazon, Apple TV, and MGM Plus. I've watched it. It's really fun movie. Well done. And
the wig is everything in the movie.
And yeah, you just finished a festival run on a mockumentary short that you produced and acted in called Bobby Hayden Church, Brother Number 2. And you have another feature called Dave versus Hollywood. That's another mockumentary. And you also are in a film called Until the Music Fades, which is in pre-production, that deals with the ALS community. And I'm like, I cannot wait to go with my box of tissues and just go and cry.
Yes, that one's in post-production though, not pre-production.
Okay, sorry. So that one's coming, Until the Music Fades. And yeah, Kate, thank you so much for being on the show, and welcome. And yeah, how's your day going?
It's great. I mean, here's the interesting thing, that I think that it's important as independent artists who aren't, and working actors who aren't necessarily, I don't think that any of us are working as much as we would like to. And I think that it's important that, I mean, the industry has changed. And I think that, I mean, you just have to continue, you have to have that tenacity, and you have to just continue to make projects on your own. Tuesday, all the way through Sunday, so March 10th through the 15th, is the 21st annual Omaha Film Festival. So exciting. Woohoo! There are about 7,000 people that attend this festival each year, which is just so cool. It's one that every filmmaker, I feel like, should want to come to and submit to. A lot of people haven't heard of it. Obviously, a lot of people have, but I'm very excited because this year I have 3 shorts that are screening at the festival that I was a part of. And I actually have my directorial debut. It's called Two Hearts, and it was written by my very dear friend, Christine Burright. And just a whole amazing team of collaboratives came together they just made me look really good. Like, I directed it, but it was really just an amazing group of talent. Cole Mallory was my co-producer, and he was also our DP, and he's just like incredible DP. One of the screenings that I produced on that is Alicia Lopez's I believe directorial debut. They may have directed before, but a really great short that is going to be on Friday night, and it's already sold out. A theater of 300 seats sold out. Yeah. And then Thursday night, I have a film that I'm a part of called Letting Go, that is a faith-based film. And then Friday night's film is called A Glance Away, and that is about a woman in like the decay of her relationship, and kind of like a journey through female desire, which is something that I'm really interested in telling stories about moving forward. And then Two Hearts is a film about a woman who goes back to her childhood home and has to face some trauma and what kind of lingers still there. So yeah, all great films, and I hope to see everyone that can possibly make it at the film festival. To get stuff out there, and that can be just collaborating with other creators who want to make art on the weekends instead of commerce. I mean, the goal is to make money, obviously, but it's kind of that age old, like, how do you get a job? Like, the job wants you to have a million jobs before on your resume. Like, how do you get the job if you don't have the job? And it's the same thing with this, so you have to create getting yourself out there. And that could just be on the weekends with friends who also, there are so many of us in this situation. So you have to find your people, you have to find, the creators that you want to be around, want to be on set with, and want to create stories and tell stories that matter to everyone. Because at first it's a lot of, not getting paid to do it and having to create and get yourself out there, because you can't be a secret and be a success. So you got to figure out a way to get your name out there and get your work seen. And so that's what I've been doing for the past 8 years, is just trying to get that work out there in any way that I can. And of course, I've worked on paid projects. I've worked on a lot of commercials, 40 to 50 commercials. And those really help.
What was the weirdest thing that you were selling, or where you were like, this is bizarre?
Weirdest. Oh, there was this one where I was doing like cat vaccines. They were like,
Yeah.
where you can like give them yourself, apparently. And I had to like learn how to like use these syringes and needles, and I was like practicing, and it was wild. And then I actually had to film with Kat, and like we were faux like putting the needle in, but I'd have to like grab the cats, and I was like inserting the needle. It was the cat.
Quick interruption from a word from our favorite sponsor. It's me, Kristen Ford, host of Oberman Amplified. My new record, Pinto, is out now. I've also got some cute merch. So head on over to Righteous Babe Records and purchase yours. And I'm also on tour, so check your listings. And I am taking on coaching clients right now. Slots are filling up fast for my 9-month band doula program. It's really fun. We meet once a month for 9 months to make sure that your band is on track and you have someone to check in with about how things are going, to hold you accountable. It's a really fun program, and we're keeping the numbers small. So check the link. I'd love to have a one-on-one coaching session. All right, back to the episode.
We're not happy. It was so yeah, that one was pretty weird, I would say.
So over 40 commercials. That helps, though.
Yeah, so that definitely helps. And I think that for a lot of actors and filmmakers, the commercial world is kind of where you can make some money before you're actually able to make the money, in the bigger scale and bigger scheme of things, like on, network television or a streamer. But also, I mean, just the whole landscape of the industry has changed so much. I mean, the streamers kind of killed residuals, and there's this whole new world of what's going to happen with the studios. And so a lot of it is changed, and we don't really know where it's going to go. But I think that you just have to, you adapt or you don't to any industry. Every industry, like, the only thing that's certain is change. So you just have to grow and adapt with that, or you'll just get left behind.
But you're someone who's not going to, because you have a grit that is pretty incredible. And when you are in on a project, you have like an obsession level focus, which I don't say that as a bad thing. Like, I think
Yeah.
I can be the same way when I'm really like in the zone about a project, or like it doesn't matter what it takes. I know you started out dancing in like elementary school.
Yeah, when I
Or
was
were you
3,
doing
actually.
ballet?
Yeah, when I was 3, I started, in classically training in ballet. I mean, you can only do so much when you're 3, but I did that all the way through, the end of high school, and then I danced collegiately for 4 years. And I also played sports. I played a lot of sports. I was a soccer player, so I had an opportunity to play soccer in college on a scholarship or go for dance, and I actually ended up choosing dance. Um,
Wow.
so so yeah, I mean, entertainment has always been a part of who I am. It's just growing up in Tennessee, in the town that I did at the time that I did, there weren't film opportunities. And all of that has changed now too. I'm like so happy for, but also so jealous of these young kids who have like film programs in their elementary school, their middle schools, their high schools. Like that is so cool. Like, can you imagine if we had had that when we were kids? Like that is, I just love that. And I work with a lot of youth. I'm actually doing private coaching for youth actors too. So I love to see, them come up and have opportunities to learn and to grow in their craft and acting and filmmaking. And the Omaha Film Festival actually has an off academy for kids every year at their festival. So I help teach that. And it's just so cool to see all the kids that come through this academy and like the films that they're creating and making. Like some of the students that that I had originally like helped bring into the off academy, I met at a homeschool career fair day.
Mhm.
I had been reached out in my military spouse group about going and speaking at this career day for acting and filmmaking. And I met these young girls. They're just they're so amazing. And they came to the OFFA Academy and they've made films. And now they have 2 films screening at the Omaha Film Festival like this year. It's so crazy. So that's
Wow.
like such a joy to watch and see. And so I think that like one of the biggest tips that I feel like I have for being able to pursue this path is training. I'm such a training like junkie. Like I think that it's so important to continue to work on and be in a group where you are, it's like a gym workout. It's I come together in these groups and classes and you have other people who you're watching and you're learning from too. And you're just, in this vacuum for that time, that creative vacuum. It's just and you're getting feedback and you're learning and growing from a coach. I just think that coaches and mentors, all of that is so important. And so I've I've had at this point I've had like my 10,000 hours, of
Yeah.
training and working. And so and I'm working on my next. Like I don't think that there's a I don't I don't think that there's a place where you stop. I
Yeah.
think even some of the greatest performers and actors and entertainers, they still train and they still work hard to continue to elevate what they're doing. And so I think that we have a responsibility to continue to grow in our craft and what we do as artists so that we can continue to elevate and tell even better stories. That's always the goal for me is my goal anytime I set out to do a project, whether I'm a part of it acting or whether I'm producing it, my goal is excellence. I might
Mhm.
not hit that goal, but that is always the goal. Like I don't ever just create something to say, "Oh, we're just going to do it to do it." Like
Mhm.
I have an intentionality and I set goals about what I want it to look like, sound like, feel like, all of those things. And that's the goal. Again, I haven't always, you shoot for the moon, maybe you get the stars. Like I haven't always hit that goal, um but I've tried. Like that was always the mark. And I think that you get closer and closer each time you continue to do something too.
Yeah, and it's a full-time job really if you're in a scene study class where you are
Yeah.
reading plays, memorizing your lines, rehearsing with your scene partners, going to a 4-hour, 5-hour class,
Yeah. It's
and
not a
really
lot.
observing what the other people like. It's easily a 20-hour commitment a week. And you hope you get faster at memorizing, but I do think mentally also it's everything to be in a community of actors who are working and to not be waiting for someone to cast you. You said in an interview that when you were booking the work and you were like so happy to have done like 40 projects. It's
Mhm.
probably much upwards of that number because this was a couple of years ago, this interview.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
70 now, I think.
what? That's amazing. You're a corporation. But when you said when you weren't booking, you would create your own work. And I think create like being like, I am an actor and I am working is huge. But going back to the dance training, I approached acting from the music world, and it was kind of a revelation to me just to be like, "Oh, I could hold my body differently." Like, "Oh, I don't have to, like, stand one way, or I could place my voice in a different spot, like, and sound like a whole different person." Like, what?
Yeah.
It's so much fun and it's so freeing. Do you think that being in the actor world and getting to take on different roles has made you maybe more open-minded person?
I think that the goal of an actor is to take on the human condition, the human experience. And so the more human experiences that you take on, I think it just the greater empathy you have. I mean, I think that as actors, we have to grow in our empathy, and you can't judge your characters because it's just all about the human condition, not your human condition. You know, you're telling another story. And so yeah, I think that it's just made me more empathetic, and I've grown in my human experience overall, just of the human condition. So,
I love that. And so you grew up in Tennessee and you
mhm.
were fresh out of college where you'd excelled in terms of like, wow, you have scholarship opportunities, you're dancing, you're like doing well, and you got this job working in country music, flying all over the world and doing like big hotshot stuff. And then you were laid off and you wound up working at your family's gas station. And
Yeah.
I would just love to hear about that story just because the city of Nashville has changed so much. It used to be
Mhm.
actually pretty rough or pretty like slim amount of country artists. It wasn't just like this bachelorette mecca that it is now.
Oh, I know. I loved
And
it when I lived there. It was still like such a little cozy, um, just not so um commercial, I guess.
mhm. And I mean, I think people would look at you and be like, "Oh, she's hot. She's like really pretty. So she probably doesn't know how to work hard." But then if you've spent any time with you, it's like you're like the grittiest motherfucker I've ever met. You will not outwork Kate Robertson Pryor, and you will
Oh,
not
thank
be
you.
more prepared or more kind in dealing with people
Thank
that
you.
maybe are not at the level that you're at, but you uplift people around you. So anyway,
Wow, thank you.
what was that
That's
experience?
very very humbling. Yeah, went from this kind of glamorous lifestyle to cleaning toilets and trash cans, working for my younger sister. And so it was a very, very humbling experience. My dad was an entrepreneur. He actually had the same thing happen to him. He was laid off. He had been with the company for like 12 or 13 years, and he was laid off on New Year's Eve after Christmas presents had been bought for three daughters and a wife. And they laid him off to make room for a family member. And so he had had that experience, and he built something from the ground up. I come by honest from my parents, such an entrepreneur and such a hard worker, and I learned and watched that grit. And that, no matter how low you get, you can't stop working and trying. And so yeah, like he had this mentality of like he and my sister both, like they had worked from the bottom up, and they were like, no one will respect you if you come in here as a manager or as a level above everybody else, so you can start at the bottom and work your way up. So I did challenge accepted. But yeah, it was what a humbling experience. And at the time, I really felt, I was like, God, why are you punishing me? Why is this happening, and now, I look back and I really do feel like it was one of the best things that ever happened to me.
Wow.
And again, just that like humility that it created, and just knowing that anything can, the floor can fall out from underneath any of us at any time.
Mm.
Nobody's above that. And so, it just created even more empathy for people who are going through tough times and who don't have a family business to go start at the bottom at. It's like I know that I had a privilege that other people don't have. It doesn't mean that I didn't work hard, but there was still that privilege there. But it just creates for, it's like my heart breaks for people who wouldn't even have that to walk into, or but they could start anywhere on the bottom too, it's like, but it still gives me just such a heart for anyone going through tough times.
And what was the job that you were working at in Nashville that was so like
So it was for a company called Sydney Frank Importing Company. And Sydney Frank, he's got a whole legendary story himself. But he started Grey Goose Vodka. He went over to France and did the proprietary blend. And then he sold that in 2000, I think it was 2005. And he sold it for like $2.5 billion cash.
Wow.
And at the time, it was the largest sale ever recorded in the history of the spirits world. He also had Jägermeister. And so Jaeger sponsored all of these tours, all these like music tours, not
Yeah.
just
Pig
country.
face.
Yeah. Yeah. And like Megadeth and Slayer and Anthrax and then also the country world, which I was based out of Nashville. So I had the state territory of Tennessee, and then also it ended up moving into Kentucky as well. But these music tours would take us all over the country. And so I would do like the VIP marketing and all of the backstage kind of stuff for the shows and for our distributors who were coming to the shows, and have all of that stuff set up and handled. And if there were any bars that we were working with within the area, like we sponsored Sturgis.
Wow.
I
By
mean, and
Grey
and I was
Goose?
no Jaeger.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's like Sydney started with Grey Goose. Like that's how he really like the company just, exploded. And then he also had Jägermeister and that bomb wave in like 2008, 9, like it was just like up, 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 up. So the company was like really cash heavy, and it was a really just cool, fun time. Like they would just really take care of their employees too. I mean, it was like everyone was paid well, everyone was treated well. They would send like airline tickets to everyone, to like first class tickets to go to like celebration meetings when we hit certain case numbers, and like would send the women like checks to buy a dress, like a gown. Like it was all like, yeah, like really, really glitzy, really fun. But yeah. And like the tours were so awesome. It was like Eric Church and Dirks Bentley and Jared Neiman and Randy Hauser. They were all sponsored at the time. So I was working backstage with them. I was always around anytime they were performing in Tennessee or Kentucky. And then sometimes I would be sent to other shows. Like I did a Vegas show with Dirk Bentley one time. And then there was some Florida shows too. So the different reps from different areas would be sent kind of to different shows and stuff too. So yeah, it was really fun because I love country music and I loved all these artists at the time. They were like some of my favorite artists. So getting
Mhm.
to like work and be surrounded by them and like their tour teams, it was just like, what a cool experience, right?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it also is like, and then they just like kicked you to the curb.
They just dissolved the entire company. It was like
Wow.
200 and something of us, like it was like overnight, just gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I
So
think
that was fun.
that's also like such a big lesson as being a working actor, where it's like
Yeah.
a lot of really successful actors are like not working most of the time.
Yeah.
And to not completely fall in love, like I definitely had a little like ego spike and like ego death myself recently, just in the past couple years, being on a Prevost bus playing sold out shows for like 1,500
Yeah.
people. I was on the Kelly Clarkson show. They're flying
I know.
me
I
out.
saw it. I saw it. I watched it live.
Yay. Oh, that's right. You did. And that's also where like the acting training comes in, because I was actually
You were really
sick. I had a
sick. Yeah.
fever, but it's like you're on for like 2 minutes. Like, how are
Yeah.
you going to
You
sit?
gotta just,
Where is your voice going to be placed? Like, where are the
yeah.
cameras?
I'm sure that really helped with that a ton.
Just, to go from, hey, I'm hot shit, to like being in California trying to establish myself, playing at breweries in the corner where no one's paying any attention. It's like, don't you know I played the Fillmore? And I'm working as a bartender now, and
Yeah.
it's humbling. I'm scraping plates into trash
Yeah.
cans. But you know what? It's providing me the freedom to do stuff like this, and
Yeah.
and to have perspective of like, just because you were wearing a gown that like the Jägermeister King bought you, and then the next day you're like at the gas station like scrubbing shit, like that doesn't mean that you're worth any less. In fact, you're
Yeah.
worth more because you
Yeah.
went through that.
Think that, we're a culmination of our experiences, and none of us would be who we are without all of those experiences, good and bad. And so it never feels that way when you're going through it, of course. But at the end of the day, I think that we're all exactly where we're supposed to be.
Being a producer and being able to assign tasks, like you said, you shoot for excellence. If people are like, I'm in acting classes, I have an iPhone, I wrote a short, I'm gonna film it. And it's like, But if you want to work with a team and you want to take things to the next level, like how do you approach your workflow to do that?
And I think that that's why producing was something that fell into my wheelhouse, or because it is in my wheelhouse, because so many of my business skills that I learned and had acquired in the business world through the years of experience that I did that, they translated to producing really well. And so I think that I heard Reese Witherspoon say recently, which I love her. I just think that she's an icon for women in business and getting things done and producing stuff. But she said, you have to chase your talents, not your dreams. Everyone has dreams, but you have to chase your talents. And so that's kind of what I did. I recognized where my skills and strengths were within this machine of filmmaking, and what translated was really that the whole producing element of that. And there is a lot of leadership, communication, business skills that you use in that, and knowing who works with who well, and those interpersonal skill sets are very important too, because producing is problem solving. I mean,
Mm.
that's really all it is. You have to learn how to master problem solving because it's just one problem after the other, and you have to whack, 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 whack. You're just knocking problems down everywhere. So that's really, I mean, to me, that's producing. And you find, like, I think that one of the things about any great leader, and I think that producers are leaders on set, any great leader knows how to find people who complement their, like, I always try to work with people who have skills that I don't.
Mhm.
I find the people who we can come together and build this thing together, because it's such a, filmmaking is just such a collaborative effort. I mean, it's unlike anything really. I mean, you watch a movie and you see all the names, and it's just hundreds, thousands, sometimes. And so you have to find the people that you work well with that have different skill sets than you do. And so I've been really fortunate to be able to work with just some amazing creators. Like, I do not write all the scripts that I've produced. I always have creative influence, but even Deployed, which you helped do our song for, which is so amazing.
There's a fine line between micromanaging and being like, I need to make sure that everyone's doing their thing, and inspiring people to do their best
Well, yeah, and
flow.
just like finding people who do something better than you. It's like, I want to be like the weakest link on something. I want all the experts, the people who are experts in their craft and what they do, whether that's camera, whether it's lighting, sound, screenwriting, directing. Like, I want all the experts
Mhm.
to come together. And so I've been so fortunate to work with such amazing people. And, like, my first short was Deployed, that I had fully produced, from script to screen. But my dear friend, who is a screenplay writer, she has her MFA in screenwriting. She's the
Hmm.
one who really helped me pen that to paper. I mean, I like wrote out what I wanted, but she put it all, into script form. And then I would say, yes, I like this, or let's go back here and change this. So I was very, very much involved in the writing, but she's the screenplay writer.
Mhm.
I'm a writer, but I'm not, screenplay writer to the level of someone with an MFA.
Yeah, and I think that's what's gonna really help us in this sort of fight against AI and the robots, where it's like,
Mm,
it's already here, where it's like, 90% of us aren't working, aren't getting our stuff in front of people. And now you're going to just make it even harder by having, this just AI dribble. And it's like learning to work with the tools and learning to expand your network. And I think that's also where like the social media bubble thing is dangerous, because you're not getting exposed to, like you said, that empathy or those other
mm,
perspectives. It's just unfollow. I didn't like that. And it's almost
yeah.
like it has to become even meaner and even more shocking and
It's like all
even
this
more
rage
gossip
bait and stuff. It's terrible.
in order to get
Um,
those clicks and get your eyes and get you to have an emotional response. They say that's with
I
clips.
know.
If you want it to go viral, like you tell a story,
Yeah.
you like create an emotional response. Who better than actors? And I also think like
Yeah.
when you are working on a short, you are drawing someone in.
People always ask, how can I support your work? How can I support you as an artist? And one of the things that I'm really telling people now is, be AI responsible. Do not do these cartoons created by AI. Do not put yourself in a pinup suit and, see what actor you're going to be next. Like every time you do those things, the fine print is you give your image away.
Hmm.
That is AI is learning off of all of that, and people are just giving it. Like all we have is our image and like our likeness, right? Not just artists, but everyone. And people are just so freely giving that away. So I always have the message of be AI responsible. If you want a cartoon done, get it done by a real artist. If you
Hmm.
want your picture drawn, there are so many artists that are dying to do that or create that. And just don't do it. Just don't do it. Don't fall into the social
Yeah.
media trends, and because it's a lot more hurtful than what I think anyone even realizes right now.
Will.i.am was talking about when you put something into ChatGPT, now it owns your idea. So be careful
Mhm.
how much of yourself you're just giving this tool. I wanted to talk to you about sort of like your mindset because you prepare for an audition, you send in your self tape and you hear nothing back. Or you're trying to get an agent and people are like, don't even talk to me about getting an agent. I don't have time for that. How do you set up your workflow for the day and be okay with getting the part, not getting the part, just doing the work? I know you do the work.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I think that you just really have to know that the job is auditioning, and you have to learn how to enjoy that part of it. But I also think that this business is such a relationship based business. I mean, really any business is, but especially this one. And so I focus most on the relationships with people. I mean, for me, everything is always like people first. It's not the job first. It's not the script first. It's like the relationship I have with that person. And we want to create together and we want to tell this story together. So I'm just very relationship focused. And I think that in this age of like you said, it's, hundreds of thousands of people auditioning for one role, or there's 1,000 people a day reaching out. I think and sometimes it's more. I've heard from agents reaching out to them every day. Like, I don't even know how you
Mm.
manage that kind of inbox, honestly. Who you know will get you there, what you know will keep you there. So you work on your relationships. And, I got my agent through a direct referral.
Mm.
I wasn't sending out emails. It was relationship based. I've gotten most of the roles that I've gotten because of a relationship. So I just think that if you want to position yourself in a position to get the role, to get the agent, position yourself in relationships. And I think that that's like one of the most important things that you can do, and be relationship focused, because people feel that, they see that, they feel it, and they want to work with people like that. They want that kind of energy on a set. Yeah. So you have to relationships. That's all. That's all I can
Yeah, and I
say.
think coming at it like not who are you and what can you do for me, and I need to find the person who can connect me the fastest, but the person that you didn't even think about that's like a cousin of your friend you used to work with is going to hear about an opportunity and it's going to come to you. Or you're like, I'm looking for screenwriters to collaborate with because I have a production company, or I'm an
Right.
actor and I'm looking for interesting roles, or you met me on set and you were like, I'm producing a short and you also make music, even though you met me as an actor. Like
Yeah.
these not being too transactional about the way that it's going to be, but just being like interested in people's strengths, like you said, like you're interested in their talents.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that a lot of times networking is mistaken for who can do something for me, who can connect me to this. And I do think that is the absolute wrong way to go into it. I think if you go
Hmm.
into it with any perspective at all, it should be, what can I do for you? How can I support
Hmm.
you? But then also just who are you? How can I get to know you? What do we have in common? What do we have not in common? It's like those
Hmm.
things are more important. Again, relationship is more important than what someone can do for you. That will come. It's like that
Hmm.
will come if you have a people first, honest relationship with someone first. Because again, you want to work with the people, you want to create with the people that you like, right?
Hmm.
Because creating stuff is it's hard, and it's a lot of it's a lot of work. I mean, even when you were doing the song for Deployed, and you were writing it, and I was like giving my ideas about it and how, like, what lyrics I thought worked and didn't work, and but we're on the phone a lot. Like, you have to communicate with the people that you're creating with a lot. So if you don't like if you're not if you don't have a good relationship with those people, you don't want to spend all that time with them, right?
Well, and it also was a big opportunity to be involved in a placement of a synchronization placement of my music and to be able to speak with one of the producers and the director and the star of the I mean, that's a wild opportunity. I was literally 2 days ago I was recording with a Grammy award winning producer engineer who's had over 1,200 sync placements, and he was saying it's super hard writing for sync. I feel like I never get anything. And it's like, dude, you won a Grammy, like you're on the mountaintop, but
You
it
got
doesn't
your
feel
name
like
out
that.
there, that's like the
Yeah.
whole thing. Like yeah. So, but man, I love that song so much. And I do think right now is such a great
All
time
right,
for it
let's
to,
let's drop it.
yeah. Mm.
We met on Valentine Crush where it was like beyond shoestring. Everyone was working 20-hour days. You filmed an entire movie in 8 days. And you were working with a lot of non-actors or people who are like, I'm doing the sound for a movie and I've never done that before. And like it seemed like you had a really good, even if it was like, I cannot eat Little Caesars, someone go get me a salad. Like that's not you being a diva. That's you saying like, there are certain things that are going to keep this train on the track and I'm going to fall apart if you feed me trash and I have to work all day and I have not slept.
Yeah.
And also just I think because opportunities do feel so rare, there's this thing you just want to say, yes, 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 yes. No, sure, whatever. Your own wellness and just like keeping the vibe good in terms of like
So,
your personal
uh,
boundaries.
so I have a really great answer for this. And because you were talking about like in the beginning, especially, there's a lot of you just want to say yes, 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 yes to everything. Because again, you want to get your name out there. You want people to know that you're an actor, that you're a filmmaker. You're just yes, 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 yes. And I think that there is nothing greater you than the power of no.
Mm.
You just say no, and no is a complete sentence. And that's it. And I think that as you grow, like yes, there are things, and I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know what I didn't know whenever we did Valentine Crash. And looking back now, I wouldn't be able to say yes to do something that didn't have certain budgets, didn't have certain crew attached that were experts in their respective like field, and that didn't have certain safety protocols and stunt training and all of those things. I'm glad I did it, that I have the experience. Again, I think that we are a culmination of all of our experiences, good and bad. So I'm glad that I have it, that it's something that I did and I worked hard to make it through because that was a really, really tough shoot. And I'll never forget one of my friends who came to a screening. It screened in Atlanta, and I had gone down for it, and she met me and watched the whole film at the screening with me. And she just, at the end, she just looked at me and she said, wow. She said, I can see how hard you worked in that. And she said, I don't
Mm.
think you will ever have to do something like that again. Like, she was like, the brutal, like, you know, falls and rolling downstairs and all these things in the way that we did them. She was like, I don't, you know, she was like, I hope you
That's
don't
right.
have
You
to do
fell
that
down a
again.
flight of stairs.
Yeah, rolled down
Did you
backwards, like,
did
and
you
had
do
to
it
do
more
that,
than
like, had to do
once?
that, like, I had to do that, like, 12 times.
You could have broken your neck.
I mean,
That's
yes,
dangerous.
1000% could have broken my neck. I mean, I was a gymnast and, did tumbling, and so I have an idea of how to fall safely and how to roll out of things, but still, no mats, no cables, the proper things that should be in place for filming stunts at that magnitude. But again, I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I have the experience because it gives me perspective on what to do, what not to do. It's all a learning experience. And I feel like you learn the most from things that don't always go right or the best, like you don't learn a lot from super successful, easygoing stuff.
Hmm.
That's not where we learn. We
Hmm.
learn in the really tough, lower kind of moments. And I'm not saying that all of that was like a low moment. I still love that I was a part of that. And everything that Vicky Valentine taught me. Um, it's an experience that today I don't think I would be able to say yes to something that didn't have certain parameters and aspects set up. So I think you just have to learn your yeses and your nos. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, a lot of times we learn what those nos are from yeses that it didn't necessarily go all the way right or perfect, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's the entertainment industry too, where it's like you
Hmm.
hear behind the scenes, like I think it was The Birds, Alfred Hitchcock, like she's laying in the ocean and she's like getting stung by jellyfish and had been like abused by Hitchcock, like making this like legendary film. But this poor actor, she like had
Mm.
gone through it. So that terror is like real. Like she's not
Yeah.
phoning it in.
Yeah. That's really scary.
But I am glad that you made it through, and it sounds like that's another, like, corporate Jägermeister to gas station moment where when you have your stunt double on
Yeah.
set for the
Right.
big Marvel movie, you're gonna be like, "Hey, girl, I good job. Let me know if
And
you
like,
need a water or
thank
anything."
you, thank you for like what you're doing because it's hard work and but you're an expert in that field, right? Like again, it's like the more projects that you continue to do and commit to, you want everyone to be an expert in the field that they're doing on set. Like that's
Mhm.
you gotta that's the goal
So
for sure.
how important is like fitness and your diet and headshots like when you're like, "Oh, I'm going to be in this derby movie. I'm going to go
Mm.
roller skate a mile every day."
Yeah, it is.
Every
Yeah.
day.
Fitness has always been really important to me. I started training and focusing on nutrition for the right nutrition for me when I was in like middle school.
Hmm.
Again, I was an athlete, so it was just something and I started to gain like weight. A lot of my friends just could like eat whatever they wanted to when I was in middle school, and I started gaining weight, and I was like, oh, like I have to like take care of this. And so I did, and I started really young, so it's something that like has stayed with me my whole life. And I have three nationally recognized fitness teaching certifications, so I've taught fitness and have really enjoyed that. I taught here on the base. I did some personal training for youth, which I again like I always have like such a passion for youth, and I wanted to be able to share like healthy body image and how we talk to ourselves to young women, really. And so we would always start our personal training sessions with like a positive like how we see ourselves and like in a positive way, and then start with a prayer, and then we would work out, and I would teach them how to use their body and weights for their bodies like at that time, and then how to like continue to grow and use them. So that was again, fitness has just always been something that is important to me. And I think that for set, you need to stay physically fit, not just if you're doing a physical role, but I mean, set days are long. They could be like 12 to 14 to 16 hours, even on union sets. Now you're getting paid a lot more if you're on a union set, but they're still really long days. And it takes a lot of stamina, I think, physical stamina, even to be standing there. You're not always able to sit. And so keeping your physical body in shape, I think is important to make it through, long shoot days. Because then like if you're not in shape and you're exhausted from being there, then like that's going to affect your acting. It's going to start to seep into everything else when your body gets really tired. So keeping that vessel strong will also, I think help your overall mental state as well, which will then make you a better actor.
I love that. I love it. It's not about being like a size 0 or having a spray
No.
tan. It's like it's about who you are inside.
Yeah, and how like good and strong you feel. I think that when like you talk about nutrition too, I don't feel good when I eat bad foods. So, after time you're like, well, I'm not going to do that because I know how it's going to make me feel. Why do I want to feel bad? That, you just stop doing it if you recognize that certain things are making you feel bad. It's like, I want to feel good. Life's hard enough. Like, let's feel good.
Yes. No, it's true. And I think, along with like how 43% of Americans like don't have $1,000,
Mm,
which they've done studies, for an emergency expense, they don't have $1,000. Like they've done studies that when you are like hand to mouth, you can't make good decisions. It's the same thing as being a functional
mm,
alcoholic, or it's the same thing as being without sleep for 24 hours. And, we also have an obesity epidemic. And it's like if people can start to put it together to be like, what I eat and how I move and how I feel and what I'm able to do and how reachable my dreams feel. Like it's all connected. And
Yeah, I
yeah.
100% agree.
So, and then you also talk about like God telling you that you should act. And like, can you talk a little bit about, a spiritual awakening or like a light bulb moment you had when you were like, this is my calling and I'm being supported by something you can't
Yeah.
see?
Yeah, I definitely felt when, I'd worked at the businesses at the gas stations with my family. And then my husband, well, he was my fiance at the time, we were going to get married. And then he's in the Air Force. So we were going to be moving. So I had to partner out of that business. So it was kind of this, again, like this moment of, I'm starting over. Like, here we go again. I'm still like, what am I going to do now?
Mm,
And we were moving to Nebraska. I was like, I'm gonna be stuck in the middle of a tornadic cornfield somewhere. Like, what is in Nebraska? I like cried profusely when I first found out we were moving to Bellevue, Nebraska, is what it said. And then I, wipe my tears and I get on Google and I'm like, oh, it's like 1 million plus. It's like a real city.
hmm,
We're gonna be fine.
mm-hmm,
And it's been more than fine. But as we're, moving here, I just really felt in my soul and my spirit that God was saying, this is your time. This is what I created you for. I'm about to open doors for you. Get ready to run through them.
hmm, hmm,
And I didn't even really like know what that meant. So again, I'm like, Google acting coaches. And just another to me, like higher power God story is, the coach that came up on Google had just recently moved here from LA and had an acting studio in LA. And she moved here with her husband, who got a job head of Hearst Television as a producer. And so they moved here. And she was like, well, I guess I can teach anywhere. And so I was like one of her first students, and we like hit the ground running. And again, like to me, that's something bigger than myself or just trying to do this thing on my own. Like that, the timing of us two being in the same space to be able to train and learn and grow from her, like, wow, I couldn't have planned that.
When the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Yeah.
That's what they
Right.
say.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like God's our ultimate teacher, and it just like it was such a perfect alignment. And so yeah, it's all I do feel that my faith has carried me through a lot of this industry, and it's taught me about grace and humility and peace and love. And for me, like, love is it's the ultimate and the most basic principle of
Mm-hmm,
Christianity.
mm-hmm,
And I think that, if my religion gets in the way of loving my neighbor, I'm going to choose my neighbor. Like, Jesus didn't ask me to love my religion. He asked me to love my neighbor. And I think that so many people are getting it wrong, and it makes me so sad.
wow. Yeah. No, I love that so much. And there are so many teachings of Jesus that it's like, y'all are missing it with this,
Yeah.
like getting whipped up into a frenzy of being afraid of
Yes.
this other. And,
Well, and I don't know if
you're
you
missing it.
remember. Yeah, you're missing it. You're missing the whole point. You're missing it. And I don't know if you remember, like the WWJD bracelets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think that they were probably created to like keep kids out of trouble, like keep them from like youth groups, like what would Jesus do? Don't drink, don't party, don't sleep around, all the things. But I think that like those of us who like wore those bracelets, I think it created this generation. I heard someone talking about this recently, and it was like, no, like we actually think that. And like when all of a sudden, like the institution, you're like, but wait, what would Jesus do? And you're seeing that it's not lining, like that's not what Jesus would do. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's so like, to me, that's like, it's been a little bit disappointing to see that this thing that, is supposed to be the foundation of our faith and love and kindness and peace. And it's like, what would Jesus do? And when you ask that question in your mind about these certain things that are happening in our world, you're like, they're getting it wrong. Like, that's not what Jesus would do, you know?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think it's really deep and it's really like we just need to build bridges, and also having that inside of you, knowing that you have a relationship with your higher power or God or
Mm-hmm.
Jesus or whatever you want to call it is
Yeah.
going to take you through the tough times. And I wanted to just pivot a little bit and ask you quickly about funding, because I heard on the Jay Shetty show a quote that really stuck with me where it's like most people don't give up on their dreams, but they cannot afford them. They're too expensive.
Mm. Mm.
Because I don't think we have any lack of people who are ambitious, who are dreaming, who want to do great things, who are talented. But if you can't find a way to fund what you're doing, whether that's acting classes or hiring a crew or keeping a roof above your head when you're working inconsistently, like,
Yeah.
so how do you get the money? How do you get it done?
Listen, I don't really have a great answer for that. I think that this industry is, it's made for people who have money. I feel like that all the time. There is some success with crowdfunding. A lot of times when I've created and produced stuff, we're not working on a budget. Like we're working on it's artists who all want to get together. We all have the same goal and we all want to get our work seen and we all want to be a part of festivals and we want to go to those festivals and we want to meet other creatives and we want to get our work seen. And I think that there's a lot of that until you can get to the point where, you can get a budget from a studio or a streaming service or whatever it may be. But I think that it's rare. And again, the commercial world can help you, build funding for classes and training. And because I think that commercials can be, some of like the easiest things to get into. Sometimes you're getting booked just off your picture alone. Sometimes there's not even actual auditions. So if you can get a couple of those, and then you start building money and be able to use that towards training or towards, hey, I'm going to film a short film for $800 and pay a couple of crew members 250, per day. We're going to shoot it in a day. And then we have this footage and we have this film, then we can go do this thing with it. I think deployed, I did find money through like a military liaison. And so that really, I think that there's always money out there. I think that you just have to, there's tons of grants. You just have to apply, find people who know more than you do, find the expert who knows more than you do about grants and different organizations that may have money to give because they want a story told that has to do with their brand or their company or their mission. It's like you need to find missions that align, and if you can reach out and find aligning missions, then the money can come.
Wow, I love that. And there's like so much more that we could talk about, but just two final questions. So you've been with your husband Will, so it's like William and Kate
Yes, the
for
US version.
many.
Yeah, so yeah.
You both have really intense jobs. Like I just know as a creative where I'm like, babe, I got to go on tour again. I've been on tour and the distance has been hard, but to
Yeah.
actually have him be deployed multiple times.
Yeah,
I mean, how do
twice.
you guys like keep the love strong and do that?
I think it's just communication. I think it's our faith and our, community. I'm sorry, he's actually right
And
there.
he's here. He wants to chat on the show. Oh my god.
But yeah, I think that it's like such a deep rooted friendship too. I think that I do think it's very true that, romantic relationships, if they don't have a basis in friendship, like if you don't really have that core appreciation, love, respect for that person, then like the passion, like exciting, like love, love, lovey dove stuff, it's like that can only carry you so far, right? So I think that like friendship and a true like good relationship, again based in friendship is I think really been the thing that has like carried us through so much because we met when we were in like middle school and we met in church and we were church camp counselors together every summer and we went to the same middle school and high school and our families knew each other and we didn't date in middle school or high school. We were friends. We were close friends. And I don't think that either one of us ever knew that we would end up married. Well, I don't know. My husband says that he knew. But But I didn't until it happened, like timing and like God's perfect timing and bringing us together. But yeah, I definitely think that friendship has been one of the things that's been most important in keeping our marriage strong, and even in distance through careers and the struggles of careers and traveling for careers. And so, yeah, I'd say
Wow.
that.
So this podcast is called Overman Amplified. That's from my grandmother. This was a piece of her sheet music. It says, "Leave me with a smile." So just the last question I have is, do you have a
What's that?
funny story or a joke to leave us with a smile today?
Oh my gosh. Okay, this is an old story, and this is just the first thing that popped in my head because I didn't know you were going to ask this question. So this is like a story about learning, kind of about a little bit of a rebellious spirit that I think is where that tenacity and grit comes in. But then the grace part, it really kind of wraps up the grit and grace. I was like 3 years old, and we were my parents had a station wagon. We're talking Chevy Chase style. And my mom is pregnant with my younger sister. So it's probably 2.5, because she's like about to pop. She's about to have this baby. And station wagons had a middle seat, and then they had a way back. I don't know if you remember station wagons, but
Yep. You faced the wrong way.
yes, yes, yes. We called it the way back. So anyway, my mom and I are sitting, we're traveling somewhere, and my mom and I are sitting in the middle seat. My dad's driving in the front. And I had this nosy bear. It was a stuffed bear. It had a globe on its nose, and you pressed its stomach, and like glitter and butterflies like floated around in the stomach. It was called Nosy Bear. So anyway, I had my nosy bear, and I would take it and I would throw it back in the way back. And I'm like, Nosy Bear, and my super pregnant mom unbuckles. She turns around. She climbs over the seat and she gets the nosy bear and brings it back up. And then I'm like, oh, thank you. Like 2 seconds later, whoosh, I want my nosy bear. I want my nosy bear. Pregnant mom unbuckles, climbs back, gets the nosy bear. My dad's up in the front seat. He says, you throw that nosy bear back there one more time, and I'm going to pull this car over and bust your bottom. And I was like, whoosh. I threw it back there one more time. He pulled over, and I learned a very valuable lesson that day.
Do you remember this from 2.5?
Yeah,
Oh my
well, I
gosh.
remember it well.
Yeah, that's literally like you were born to be an actor, because that's
Yeah.
the amount of persistence and degaf that it takes sometimes.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Kate Robertson Pryor, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you at the Omaha Film Festival.
April,
So thanks, Kate,
thank you.
for being on the show.
Thank you. So much love to you.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
Yay.
Amplified.
No matter how long I've got to wait, no matter the challenges we face, a ray